Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This week's video is the final episode in my Crash Bash Party Stash remake sequel ideas. So this video is going to be the mini games of this game. So the first episode I did the roster, the second episode I did the story and the bosses, and the third episode, this episode you're watching, I'm going to be doing the mini games. I'll post the links to the other videos in the description. And I also want to get this out of the way. It's not the 4th of July. It's like the 1st of July when I'm recording this. And my neighbors are shooting off fireworks. So you might hear fireworks in the background of some of the audio. So I apologize for that. I went into a room where I'm furthest away from the noise, but you might still hear it. So I'm just going to jump right into it. We're going to cover the Crash Bash mini games and how I would change them. Then we're going to go to Crash Purple because it came out chronologically after Bash, and then we're going to do Boom Bang. So we're just going to jump right into it. So I'm not going to go over them chronologically in the game. I'm just going to do them by the gaming types. So the first one is the Crate Crush levels. And I'm not going to change anything other than visuals. They're going to be updated, and you're going to have fancy stuff going on in the background. Kind of how Nitro Fuel added tons of character to all the levels. That's what we'd like for the backgrounds of these, like maybe some tribesmen in the background dancing around and stuff. But the gameplay is going to be exactly the same in the first one. Then we move on to the second Crate Crush level. You throw TNTs at the ground and it explodes the arena. So as the level progresses further into the level, if you don't defeat the other bad guys, or the other opponents rather, the arena will start disappearing. So for my game, I have decided that there will be a power-up. The power-up will be Lonnie Lowly. So when he appears on the screen, whoever gets to him first, they could either flip the arena to, not flip, phase out. So Crash will be able to walk on the arena, and it's going to be like a checkerboard, so every other block will disappear for a limited amount of time. So if there was already less level for them to work with, it's going to make it even harder for them. Then we move on to the snow-themed one with the penguin that spins in the middle. So everybody, well not everybody, a lot of people have claimed, oh, that's Penta Penguin. Well, in my remake, it is going to be Penta Penguin. So you have Penta here, and he spins like crazy, and then we'll have his girlfriend, Gurin, on the sidelines. So that'll be her first introduction into an actual game. So the gameplay doesn't change much, or at all even. It's just, we're going to swap out that generic penguin for Penta, and Gurin's going to be on the sidelines watching. And then the final one, it's I believe it's called Drain Crush. Doesn't matter. Point being is, I'm not going to change the gameplay of this one either. You're going to get the purple boxes, which give you various power-ups to help you defeat the other opponents. And that brings us into our next gameplay style, the Polar Push levels. So for these levels, I decided that I want certain characters to ride certain polar bears. So for Tiny's, or the brawler type, I want them to ride larger polar bears. Not gigantic, just beefier looking. And for the assistants, I want them to ride the mecha polar bears that are in the Bearminator level. Crash will obviously be riding polar. But then another cool thing that I want to do is I wanted Coco to ride Purra. So instead of her riding a polar, she'll be riding Purra in these levels. But other than cosmetics for that, this level will remain the same because it's the first one. Then this level was the tilting level. Tilt Panic, possibly. I don't remember exactly. And as the level progresses, a giant fish will leap onto the iceberg, and a giant walrus will jump up and cause the arena to shake wildly. So with walruses, who do you think we're going to have join our party? That's right, we're going to have Rusty Walrus be the one to jump up and try and grab the fish. And the fish, instead of just getting the fish and going off the other side, we're going to have the fish flop around all over the arena and Rusty chase it. So the arena is going to be swaying back and forth, and he's going to say, "Ah, yummy, fresh meat for my pot." So I think that's going to be silly. Then we move on to this one. The only thing that I'm going to change, again, is going to be cosmetic. Uka Uka is the one that melts the arena and makes it smaller for you guys. And I'm going to change it to one of the quantum masks. I'm just going to change it to Akano, because I want to have every mask in this game. And we're just going to have that be, instead of Uka Uka, it's going to be Akano. And then similar to the last Crate Crush level where you just get various power-ups, that's going to remain true for these Polar Push levels. That little mechanical thing there shoots down a beam and you run through it and you get power-ups. I'm not going to change that. We're just going to leave it the way it is. That brings us to our next game mode, the Ballistic Levels. You move back and forth and you have to get the balls to bounce off of your vehicle there into the other opponent's goals, and once their score reaches 0, they explode. So this is the first one of this style, so I'm not going to change it. It's going to remain the same. And this next level, I'm also going to keep it. It remains the same. The different style in this one is you get magnets on the front of your vehicle, so you can grab a bunch of magnets and then shoot the balls off. The only thing that's going to change is going to be cosmetic stuff. We're going to have other stuff floating in the background that wasn't there normally. Like we'll have some sharks. Maybe Nash will make another appearance in this one. Just think ruse tubes in nitro fueled, and that's what I want the background of this level to look like. Then we go into N-ballism, and Engine pops up in the middle of the arena and he spins wildly and shoots balls all over the place. But as you know, in our game, Engine is a playable character, so I'm going to swap Engine out for Madame Amberly. She's going to fly down on her ropes, and she's just going to spin like crazy and shoot balls all over the place. So the game is going to remain the same, but we're going to change Engine out for Madame Amberly, so we have some Crash Twin Sanity stuff being covered there. Then the last ballistic level, you're floating up way up high in the air, and the wind changes and the arena shifts, so sometimes the balls go towards you, sometimes they go away from you. So when you think wind, who do you think? Lolo, the wind elemental. So how this is going to work is the first person to hit him 4 times, because I don't want it to just be like, oh, a random ball, he appears and someone's ball randomly hits him so they get it. I want you to have to actually work for it. So the first person to hit him 4 times, he will go behind that person and he will just blow. So whatever balls come towards Crash or whoever you decide to play as, the balls will be blown away from you. And it will only last for a couple seconds. But the point is, it's gonna be a power-up that helps you out greatly. And that is the last ballistic level, so we're going to jump into the next party style. So the next style is the Pogo Loco levels. This is, you have to get as many tiles on the screen to your color and then hit the purple question mark box and you get the powers for that. And the only thing I'm going to change on this one, because again this is the first of it, the first of this style, so I'm not going to change it, is we're going to have our buddy Farmer Ernest on the side there, and this tree is going to be one of the Wumpa trees, so he's going to be tending to his garden while you guys jump around. Then this next one here, you have to make squares. I'm not going to change anything about this one. You just go around, make squares, and once you complete your square, whatever boxes you've made the square plus whatever's in the inside becomes points. And now here's where things get interesting. So we're in El Pogo Loco, where Ripperoo jumps around on the arena and turns certain spaces into TNT crates, and it hinders the players. However, I'm going to change, because Ripperoo is a playable character in this game, in my game, so we're going to change Ripperoo out for the memeiest character ever, the Iron Checkpoint Crate. So throughout this game, you're constantly hitting the purple exclamation point boxes, and I guess for lore reasons, this is upsetting the Iron Checkpoint Crate. So he'll just slide around the arena And as he's sliding across certain boxes, they'll turn into TNTs like that. And I picked the Inferno Iron Crate from On the Run because Inferno and fire explosions, I think it's pretty neat. Again, like I said, very memey, but we needed Ripperoo out of this game, and I think this is a good replacement. Then this is the last Pogo level. You cannot touch your own color. You have to go, it's like if you've ever played the game Snake, you always have to be going forward. You can never go back, and if you go back, you lose your points. And for this game, I've decided to add Rocco into the game. Rocco will make wild earthquakes that cause the player to turn around. So whoever gets Rocco is going to have a big advantage because it's going to make earthquakes and it's going to like reverse the controls for the other three opponents, and that's going to mess them up greatly. It'll only last for a couple seconds, but that's what we're going to go with. And with that, we're done with the Pogo levels. I'm going to jump into the next party style. We're into the Crash Dash party style. So this one, you literally just go around the I guess you can call it arena, the racetrack, the circle, as many times as you can within the time limit, and the person who has the most rotations wins, and sometimes it goes reverse, so the number's 10, so if you go around 10 times, you win. The first person across the 10 times wins. So that's going to be the first one. We're not going to change anything with this because, again, the first of the style, it'll remain the same so players can get used to the game style. Then we have Toxic Dash, where everyone's famous or favorite friend Toxie from the Forgotten Crash Bandicoot characters appears. He shows up in the middle of the arena and he slaps his hands and makes little sludge balls that get in the racer's way. So for this one, I'm going to change good old Toxie into Sludge, the Sludge Titan from Crash of the Titans and Mind Over Mutant. So it's going to pretty much work exactly how Toxie works, except I've added some more moves in for him, because he's going to remain there the entire time. He's not just going to go into the sludge and come back. He's going to stay there the whole time. So he'll throw his arms out, because that's one of the moves that Sludge had, stretchy arms, and he'll keep the same clapping ability to make the little sludge balls, but he'll be more of a hindrance than Toxie was. So now we have Splash Dash. This one's going to remain mostly the same. However, if you are ahead by more than 3 laps, Wawa will show up and he'll start doing crazy waves. So it tries to and the waves will only affect the player who's 3 laps ahead. So it's going to try and equal it out for people. So if you have someone who's really good and he's zooming around, Wawa is going to level the playing field and make it a little more fair. I shouldn't say more fair because it's always fair. It'll just help the players who aren't as good as the guy who's kicking butt. But again, it only shows up if you are 3 laps ahead of everyone. Now this one was called Dante Dash, and a pterodactyl would pick you up and drop you into the fire and you would spin out. But for our game, we're not going to just have a generic pterodactyl. We're going to have the Magmadon from Crash of the Titans. And what he's going to do is he's going to spray out lava on the track that you have to dodge. And just like the pterodactyl would drop you into the volcano, he'll just grab a random character and pull them into the lava, which will make them spin out, just like the pterodactyl did in Dante Dash. And that is the end of the Dash levels, and we're going to jump into the next party style. The Tank Wars style. So there's only 2 more styles of gameplay left. There's Tank Wars and then the Medieval Madness levels. So for Tank Wars, again, first level, it's going to remain exactly the same as it is. Then we're going to jump into this level, Metal Fox, I believe it was called. And the arena is constantly changing. The metal squares there, they'll go down and they'll go up and they'll change it all over the place. So sometimes your projectiles will bounce off the metal and back at you. So for the change in my game, we're going to add Ika Ika into this game, which gives you gravity powers. So you're going to be able to grab Ika Ika and you will temporarily, your gravity will be shifted, so you'll be floating above everything, and you can just shoot down at everyone, so you get a very big advantage from doing that. So that's my Metal Fox level. Then we have Jungle Fox, which is an open arena, and there's little tiki guys in the middle. I'm not going to change anything gameplay-wise. We're just going to change a little bit of the cosmetics. So you can see these little tiki guys jumping around and causing damage for the other players. Well, in this game, we're going to have Tikimon's little minion guys instead of the generic-looking Tiki fellows. We're going to have these Tikimon minions that are going to be stacked up, probably like 3 or 4 high. And then the longer the level goes, more of them will jump down into the arena and start causing a ruckus to, hinder you. Then this last one is called Swamp Fox, and you're in an airboat just driving through the water and shooting at each other. The only thing that I'm going to change about this is it's going to be more of a bayou type level. So Crash 4's bayou stuff, we're going to have it all in the background and stuff. And we might have Dingo's Diner somewhere. Like I said, I just loved how nitro fueled Crash Team Racing nitro fueled, how it just put so much character into every level. So that's what we're going to do for this one. And then that leads us to our last party style. The last party style is Medieval Madness. Most of the games are different. Not most, all. They're all different style, but they all have the same cosmetic, medievally feel to them. So this one, you just get balloons, and when the time is done, whoever has the most points wins. But for our game, we're going to add Kapunawa into the game, because she has time powers, and we're in a clock, so it works, right? So she's going to slow down time, so whoever gets Kapunawa, she'll slow down time for the character who gets her. And your character can run around the arena and grab as many balloons as you want while everyone else is going at a very slow pace. We're not going to have it be as slow as in Crash 4 because we want the other players to still be able to move and have fun, but it's going to slow them all down significantly, and you're going to be able to run around the arena and grab all your balloons. Dragon Drop. You all ride baby dragons, pick up gems, and throw it at a moving target, and depending on where you stand, you get more points or less points. So the only thing I'm going to change in our version is the dragon from Wrath of Cortex and Nitro Fueled will show up occasionally and blow fire on specific parts of the arena, so you won't be able to get points for a limited amount of time until the fire goes out on those. So like if you're just someone who's standing on 5 and getting 5 points, 5 points, 5 points, he might blow fire on the 5, so then you won't be able to get 5 anymore. So if you're just banking on getting a 5 and you're down by, let's say you're down by 5 and you want to, or you're down by 4 and you want to get a 5, and there's only like 3 seconds left, if the dragon blows fire on the 5, you can't get 5, and the best you can get is a 3, and you'll still lose. So add some strategy to that. Then we move on to Mallet Mush. You just run around with your mallet and smash mushrooms, and different colored mushrooms pop up. There's silver ones and gold ones, and you get more points depending on the mushroom you hit. Nothing's going to change in this one. Cosmetically it'll be changed, but the gameplay is going to remain the same. And now we're moving on to our last mini game of Crash Bash, Keg Kaboom. So you make a trail of gunpowder to different kegs and blow them up. You ignite them with the little fire sprites. I don't believe they have a canonical name. I'm just going to call them fire sprites. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we'd covered every single quantum and elemental mask except for one mask. And we saved the best for last. He's going to show up in this game. Pyro. So Pyro will be a power-up that shows up, and I haven't decided on how it's activated yet, if it'll be a luck-based or whoever gets it first, but pretty much what happens is whoever gets the Pyro power-up, the entire arena will blow up. Every single keg will blow up, and you will get all the points for that. So Pyro is going to be a very, very important power-up for that minigame. And that covers all the Crash Bash games. But like I said in my other videos, Crash Bash Party Stash is actually going to take all of the minigames from all of the Crash Bandicoot party games and incorporate them into this game. Last video I said there was going to be a secret warp room, but I decided against that because there's too many warp rooms as it is. So just periodically throughout the game, as you complete certain warp rooms, more of the Crash Purple and Crash Boom Bang minigames will be unlocked in a different mode. So you'll have like adventure mode and arcade mode. This will be like minigame mode. So think about like Mario Party, how you go to like a minigame room and you just get to pick minigames. It'll be like that, but it will be for the remakes of the Purple and Boom Bang minigames. And I'm going to cover them as quickly as I can because this video is getting pretty long. So I'm just going to jump into the Crash Purple minigames. So the first minigame that I'm going to be covering, it's pretty much a knockoff of the Ballistic Levels from Crash Bash, except for it's just one player versus the minions. So that's pretty much exactly what it's going to be. Most of these games are just going to be like graphical enhancements. So this is just going to be the same setup as a Ballistic Level, but instead of balls going into your goal for points, you're going to be facing different enemies. The Crate Smash minigame, you have a time limit and you have to run in a straight line and break all the crates. That's pretty boring, so we're gonna take the Crate Crush from Crash Bash, that visual style, and instead of running 2D to the right, you're gonna be going in a normal Crash, like Sonic's ass game. You're gonna be running away from the screen, breaking crates, and in a time limit. This one, Crunch Time, you literally just lift weights by tapping the button. So I don't really know how to make this more extravagant because the game is really, really short. If anyone has any ideas, it's pretty much just going to remain exactly the same with graphical enhancements. Free falling, you jump downward and you bounce off crates and you have to get all the crates. Again, I'm not really going to keep it like this. We're going to have the core gameplay is going to be the same. You're going to be breaking crates, but again, we're going to keep it in the Crate Crush style of Crash Bash. So instead of jumping down and falling down like that, we're just going to have like different levels, not levels as in like game levels, levels as in like height levels. So you'll break all the crates and then you'll just fall down to the next part and continue on until you reach the bottom of the tower. And I should have noted at the start, if you are playing with multiplayer, it's just going to be split screen, because you're not going to be going against them, like fighting them. It's just going to be split screen, and you're all going, it's going to be a versus. So the next minigame style was called Crate Smash, and just like the other one, the only difference is you're on polar now. So instead of you controlling this game speed, you're at a constant speed running forward. So we're just going to take the polar push mechanics, and it's going to be a side-scrolling level with polar doing the polar push stuff. And then almost identical to the polar push, this one, or whatever the last one was that we just covered, the Crate Smash it was called. This one, you're on a bat flying going into the 2D side-scroller, constantly moving forward. For this one, I think we're gonna add Battler into the game, so you're gonna be riding a Titan Battler, and instead of using the bazooka, Battler can shoot wind blasts. So you're gonna be riding Battler and shooting wind blasts, but it's gonna be designed similar 2D style, and I don't think you're going to be constantly moving forward. I think you have more free range. And then the last one in that style, it's just a jetpack instead of the bat. So it'll remain the same. We'll just have it, instead of being the Battler, you'll just be using a jetpack. These mini games, they're pretty much shovelware, so I'm trying to inject as much fun as I can into them, but believe me, it's pretty difficult. Then the next style minigame was what is this? Is it fourth person? I'm not sure. Whatever the sky down view is, that's how you control this game. But I think it's atrocious, so we're going to use the same controls for the Tank Wars of Crash Bash, and it's going to be not completely above view. It's going to be like that side view, but still above, like in Crash Bash. And you're going to explore the level with the Crash Bash style tanks instead of doing this. And then the other one that is similar to this, but not a tank level, was a downriver level where you're in a float. But instead of a float, we're just going to put you in the same airboat from the Swamp Fox level. And it's going to be an exploration type level just like we did with the last one. And then the last two minigames to cover from Crash Bandicoot Purple are tower defense style games with sheep constantly walking forward, and you have to blow them up before they hit the nitros. So I guess as a minigame, we'll just keep it the same, but instead of sheep, we're going to change them out for, we'll just do lab assistants, because lab assistants haven't had much love. So we're just going to have them be lab assistants. And the last purple game to cover is another tower defense style game, but you have a little helicopter that you move up and down, and he has to shoot the incoming enemies. So we're going to keep it the same. Instead of Crash with a bazooka, it'll be Crash with this copter thing, and he'll be attacking lab assistants. And that covers all of the Crash Purple games. Now we're going to move on to the Crash Boom Bang games. So bear with me. The Crash Bash minigame, or the Crash Boom Bang minigames, are almost as bad as the Crash Purple minigames. So we're going to jump into it quick. Like I said, the video is getting a little long for my liking, but I don't want to split this into a fourth part. I made a promise to you guys that I would do it in this video, so we're just going to cover them now. So I apologize for the size of these pictures. It's very hard to come across good quality Crash Boom Bang images. So I got them from all over the place, from Crash Mania, from various wikis, and some other game review sites. So I'm not going to credit them all in the description because there's a lot of them, but when you see their name or icon on the image, I'm not trying to say, oh, I didn't get it from them. That's where it came from. So anyway, the first mini game is an assembly game where you make a vehicle and then you don't even get to race it. So for this one, we're just going to have it be a cart instead of that race car. So you assemble that. Next minigame is a pizza minigame. That just screams Crash Bandicoot, doesn't it? So the only thing that I could think of to make it more crashy would be that the ingredients, instead of being regular tomato sauce, it'll be Glow-Matos, and you got to crush it up. And then you can have like the glow bark to make some of the dough. I don't know. That's literally the only thing I could think of to make it more Crash styled. Then we have some ballistic style levels, which literally it's Crash Bash. So they'll just be slightly smaller with different times, I guess. Like instead of being a 2-minute minigame, it'll be a 40-second minigame. Then we have this other minigame where the V count pops up in the middle of the arena and you have to hit him with the paddles and the balls. We're just going to change that to a ballistic style level. So like how Engine or Madame Amberly popped up in the middle of the arena, we're going to do that, but the V count will be in the middle and you have to attack him. Crash Balloon. You have to blow into the DS microphone to make the balloon get larger and pop. Since this is not going to be on the DS, I guess it's just going to be another Tap A game similar to the Crunch Time where you lift the weight. Literally nothing like Crash, but that's what we're going to do. Just tap A or X depending on the game till the balloon pops. The Silhouette mini game. Literally you look at a silhouette and you pick out what character you think it is. So we'll just add a whole bunch of characters and try and trick you. Like we'll have a Wawa, and then the option will be like Aku Aku because they're both square, so it might confuse people, or Uka Uka. There's tons and tons of characters in the Crash series, so instead of just using like 4 different characters, we could use like all 100 of them. A maze minigame. Literally that's it. Crash runs in a maze. Can't change much, just leave it as it is. Now these ones I'm going to change into polar themed levels, because polar push. So instead of running around in the giant hamster ball and banging into everybody, you're just going to be in this arena that they made for Boom Bang, but instead of in the balls, you're going to be on Polar. And again, this one will do the exact same thing. We're just going to replace the balls with Polar, and you have to knock the other characters into the pool ball holes, or billiard ball holes, whatever you want to call it. Now we move on to the wonderful sports games that again have nothing to do with Crash. So here's a golf game. Not going to change anything about it. Here's a soccer game. Not going to change anything about it. A tennis game. Not going to change anything about it. And then we jump on to the last style of minigame, which will be vehicle levels. This is going to be like the other one we did for purple. It's going to be like the Swamp Fox controls. You're going to be in an airship, and you're just going to go down the river and try to dodge the nitros. Then this one, instead of riding horses, because I just think that's really awkward that you have these anthro characters riding these realistic looking horses, I think we're just going to, again, swap out the horses for polar bears, and you're going to be running down trying to go faster than everyone else and dodging different stuff. And we're almost done with the mini games in Crash Boom Bang. We got a couple more. Then we have this mech mini game, which was a boss battle. It's going to be what it is. We're not going to change much. There's going to be a giant mech. It won't be piloted by V-Count. It'll just be a robot. And you run around and punch it. Then you have an airplane level where you fly around and get fruit. We're not going to change that. And this is the last level that I have a picture for. It is not even accurate because in the game it's V-Count rather than the lab assistant. But we're just going to swap out V-Count for the lab assistant. So this was cut from Boom Bang, but we're going to reinstate it, and that's going to be that one. There are a few more Boom Bang levels, or minigames rather. The only one that I could really think about is you're in the mech suit and you're grabbing boxes and bringing it from one side of the arena to another. I can't remember many other anymore, but if you guys remember ones that I forgot, please point them out in the comment section and I'll tell you how I would change them. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the hidden boss that I promised I'd tell you about from the last video. So if you recall, I said the last boss of the game will be Geary, and you race him and attack him at the same time. Then you get to the home world, and it's revealed that Geary was being controlled by Willy Wumpacheeks with a remote control. And Willy Wumpacheeks says, "It took me 10 years to regenerate. I was a pile of goo, and now I'm going to destroy you. You didn't invite me to X, Y, and Z games. How dare you?" Then we'll have the Park drones pop up and shoot rockets at you. And after you defeat Willy Wumpacheeks, he explodes into a pile of goo again. For my 100% ending, if you get everything in the game, you will be shown another cutscene with the goop on the ground, the Willy Wumpacheek Wumpa Goop. And Willy will be scooped up into a mech suit, and he'll say, "I had this stashed away because I knew if I was destroyed, I didn't want to wait another 10 years to fight you again." And you will fight Willy Wumpacheek goo in a mech suit. And it will be a Crate Crush style level where Willy is running around an arena, launching missiles at you, launching lasers at you, and you have to destroy the ground that is underneath him by throwing TNT crates at him. So the more TNT crates you throw, I think we're going to do like 10 TNT crates, and once that all breaks, he will plummet down to his doom, and the game will be over. So everyone, if you're still watching, I love you. I can't believe you made it through almost 35 minutes of me talking about Crash Bash Party Stash minigames. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And we're going to have another video for you next week. You take care. Goodbye.